Welcome back to the Python series. In this video, we are going to discuss about conditional statements. So in general, every one of us just come across the situations in which we are supposed to take the decisions based on some conditions or facts or possibilities. For example, whether to take a MTech or to take a job after BTech based on our family background, financial status, our interests, and etc. So why can't we take decisions based on some conditions in programming? Can't we apply that? And the answer is yes. And one of the best ways to use if conditional statements. So the syntax for if conditional statements is if keyword space and then the condition. So let's take true and then colon. So now here, how can we identify the block of statements that belongs to only this if conditional statements? So as you know, generally the code of line starts from this left side, right? So to differentiate them, we have to give a indentation, and now indentation is nothing but just the number of spaces. Here it will take a tab. We can give any number of spaces, but space should be compulsory. It must be single space or double space or 3 spaces or 4 spaces. Generally a tab is good for this. So let's print in hi. It's okay. As we return true, it is a boolean value, right? So that this if statement will be executed always. So let's run this. Here we can see we got the output. And note that the block of statement that belongs to if should all have the same indentation. That is so here if I just give just 3 spaces. So let's run this. Here we can see indentation error. So the block of should be have the same number of blank spaces in the front. So now let's take the example for if condition. So as you know, while applying for a job interview, some of the companies will ask for the candidates apply only if they have total percentage greater than 70 or 75, whatever it is. So let's percentage P greater than or equals to just 75.00 floating value. Then first we have to give it right. Just I will take my own input but not from the user, 65 or something. So if they are greater than 75%, then it will have to print a message that is you are eligible. Okay. So let's run this. Here we can see that P is less than 75. So the if statement is false, or the condition inside if is false, so it is not executed. So let's take this as 78. So let's run this. Here we can see as the condition is satisfied, so the block of statement inside if is executed. This is how if works. And now in this case we will just get the message if and only if the condition is satisfied. So what about the rest of the candidates who have less than 75%? Then let's have to print a message that you are not eligible. So how can we do that? We can do the same like this. Just we can use another if and then P less than 75, then print sorry. Okay, that's it. So let's run this. First make this as 65. So let's run this. Here we can see, and now here writing an efficient code is more important than writing a code, and this is not an efficient code. So why is it not efficient code? So let's see. For this we can use the debug. Just place a breakpoint and then here it is debug. So let's run this. Here is a symbol, or we can use F8 from keyboard. It starts from here, execution, and if it's true, so here we gave 65, right? It is false, so that it will jump to the next one, next if statement, and if it's true, it will print sorry. So that's the flow. So let's change it to 78. So let's stop this. Let's debug again. So let's see. It will check the if condition, and then if it is true, then it will print this statement, and after that it will again check for the next if condition, and then so here it is not true, so it will skip this one. So here generally after check if the one of the condition is true, then there is no meaning in checking the next condition, right? So this will make a waste of time, so that it is not efficient. And also here we have only two groups of people, that is greater than or equal to 75% and then less than. So here is case which else comes into force. Instead of using if again, we can just use else here. Else, you can just print the same. So now let's keep a breakpoint and then just click on debug. Here it will check for the first if condition. So here it's true, so it will print the statements inside it. So here we can see that else is not executed or checked. So therefore we can use else in a situation where there are no more conditions to be checked or verified. So let's do some more. If percentage greater than 85, so let's print an appreciation message. Awesome score. And then else, sorry, we can print good score. So yeah, you can just run it. Here also we can see the debugging and the flow. So it starts at if, so here it is correct, so it will print this, and then it will check the another if condition, and then so it is false, so it will print the else, and else is jumped or skipped. So make sure that here this if statement will be checked if and only if the first if statement is satisfied, because this if is inside the outer if, right? And this is nothing but nested if inside another if is called as nested if. So we can also, now we have completed if else. And then we also have another one, elif, which is same as else if in other languages like C. So let's see this. So let's clear this. So now let's give grades for the students. For students who got percentage greater than 80 as A and 60 as B and then 40 as C. So if greater than or equals to A, we can do the same. If P greater than or equal to 60, print B. Next, if P greater than or equals to 40, C. So finally, if less than, all students we can give as fail. So we can use else here. Else grade F. So we can do like this. So let's give here greater than 80, that is 82.00. So let's run this. So as we discussed in the debugging of if, we said that even though the condition is true, it will check for other all, right? Here is the proof of this. Here 82.0 is greater than 80, so it printed A here, and 80 is greater than 60, so it printed B here, and then it's greater than 40, so it printed C here. Here also we got the same problem. Here also we don't need the other conditions to be checked if one of the condition is true, right? So how can we achieve that here? Previously there are only two groups, one is who are eligible for interview and then not, so that we used else directly there. So how can we use this here? For this we have elif. Okay, here elif also works in same way like else. That is, if the first if condition is satisfied, then the elif is not executed, and if the first one is not satisfied, then the compiler or interpreter comes to the elif and it will check for this condition, and it is not satisfied, then it will move to the next elif condition, and then if none of these are satisfied, then it will print the else. So we can see this by placing a breakpoint and then just debug it. So here it will start at if. So here if is true, so it will execute the block of statements inside this if, and then as it is satisfied, remaining all are not checked. So we can test for another number also. Let's see, 65. So we can do debug again. It will start as this point. So here the condition fails, so that it will move to the next one. So here the condition is satisfied, so it will execute the block of statements under this elif. So it is true, the remaining are skipped out. So we can see for another also, 45. So debug, it will start at first one, it is false, so the block of statements are skipped. So here it is also not satisfied, so it will be skipped. So here it is satisfied, it will print the conditions or statements, and it is true, right? Else is skipped. So we can see for 35 also. So let's debug it. It will start as first one. First if condition is false, so it is skipped. Elif also false, it is skipped. This elif also false, it is skipped. So it will come to the else part and else is executed. So now let's run it and check it. So now let's make it as 85. So let's run this. Here we can see previously we got A, B, C, but here we got only A. You can just see for 66 and then run again. We got only B. 46. So let's run this. Here we got C. Then 36. Here we got F. So that's about if, elif, else, and then nested if statements.